Hey guys, check it out. You're watching Jonathan Clarke on YouTube. Oh no! Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Jonathan Clarke, and it is my honor to join you once again this evening to discuss all things Descendants and Zombies. If you have not subscribed to this YouTube channel, trust me, over the next 20 minutes, I will give you a reason and hopefully have convinced you to hit the subscribe button for this YouTube channel, because I want you to be a part of this incredible journey we have yet to continue on. Because Descendants and Zombies has a story that is far from over, and for those of you who have been led to believe that this story has seen its dramatic conclusion, perhaps you should take a step back and really put into perspective that this story is far from over because of so many unanswered questions we've been left with at the conclusion of The Rise of Red. Like, was happily ever after all Chloe and Red ever imagined that it would be? And was it everything they had bargained for after going back in time and altering the fabric of time to, of course, change the course of history? Which is something, when I really think about it, I don't think I would ever want to do because of the consequences you would be faced with when you went back to present day. And that's exactly what this movie is going to focus on, are the consequences of their events in time traveling in present-day Wonderland as the Kingdom Cup games find their way into Oregon with so many characters that have never seen their introduction into the franchise ever before. Characters from Encanto and Princess and the Frog are expected to debut, and because I was a huge fan of The Princess and the Frog and I thought the music was beautiful from the 2011 musical featuring the first African-American Princess Tiana and her history with a frog, I think that's really, really cool. And I think that seeing these new characters, seeing their introduction into the Descendants franchise presents an opportunity for new storylines. Of course, obviously, we know that Red is going to have a sister in this one named Pink. Of course, we all knew her from High School Musical, the series, and her contributions to that, but we have never seen her as a character in Descendants. And to be honest with each and every one of you, I'm really excited to meet her. Kind of like just how I was excited to meet Ruby Rose Turner's character, Bridget, because Ruby inspired me to be a better person and that much kinder to everybody in my lifetime, because we never know how much kindness can really affect a person and touch a person's heart. Like how Descendants and Zombies gave me the honor of meeting so many wonderful people and sharing in my stories of being a fan and hearing each and every one of yours in return. Because people have been leaving me comments, sharing their stories about how they became a fan of Descendants and Zombies, telling me things like who their favorite character is, showing up at my door every year on Halloween, dressed up as their favorite character, trying to get me to guess who they were. I've had a whole lot of fun talking about Descendants and Zombies for each and every one of you, because my issues have forever and always lied with the critics, who could never seem to say anything nice about Kylie Control and Dove Cameron at all. And it left them brokenhearted, and it left me brokenhearted as a journalist, because I am far from a critic. What I am is a fan of Descendants and Zombies. So, to be honest with each and every one of you, if I were to record my thoughts on Descendants and Zombies right now, I don't know what's going to happen with Descendants and Zombies. It beats me. But that's what's so fun about being a fan of Descendants and Zombies, is you never know quite what to expect or what's coming next. It's kind of like how you write a story and you never know what the next chapter is going to detail. You just write it with an open heart and an open mind. And I believe that's what they've been doing with Descendants and Zombies ever since it began. They've just been doing it with an open heart and an open mind. Nobody ever knew what kind of response Descendants and Zombies was going to receive. I mean, I remember at these conventions, they thought probably 100 people were going to show up, and they go to every convention, over 500 to 1,000 people would show up at each convention, showing the outpouring of love and support for these stars, because these stars have come off as true inspirations. Every single night Kylie Control was on the Worlds Collide Tour stage, she put her heart and her so much dedication into bringing that character Red to life. And I think over the years, people have fallen in love with whatever character they felt inspired by, their favorite songs, their favorite moments, and together we've laughed, we've cried together, we've shared our stories of what made us Descendants and Zombies fans. Because it's not one specific age demographic that Descendants and Zombies targets. I mean, many of you will be 17 by the time Zombies 5 happens, and you'll be, well into your teenage years. And I think you'll be having a greater appreciation for Descendants and Zombies than ever before, because many of you will remember being a fan of Descendants and Zombies when you were 7 years old. For me, you haven't got to mind me. I was a fan of Descendants and Zombies ever since I was 25 years old. And you guys got to believe me where I'm coming from. This has been the greatest honor of my life, to be able to sit in front of this microphone each and every single night and record my thoughts on Descendants and Zombies, because I know how much it means to be a fan of these franchises, and I know what it's like growing up being a fan of shows like Goof Troop, Hercules, which were shows from a very different era, because I had the honor of growing up as a millennial from 1986 to the year 2000, so I was a part of every movie premiere from 101 Dalmatians to Beauty and the Beast to Aladdin to Hercules, and I remember seeing every critical moment. If there was ever a part of history to be a part of in Disney, I think I was a part of every part of history that you could ever think of, from the release of video games to the release of the movies and the red carpet premieres. I was there for everything. So to be a part of the premiere of Descendants in 2015 was the greatest honor of my life, and to be a part of this premiere many years later, I know how people felt about it. They chose to criticize it without even giving it a chance. So the reason why I created this YouTube channel was because I know somewhere out there tonight in this really big universe, because this universe is really big, there was a girl watching this video on her phone and her tablet who just wants to watch a really great Descendants and Zombies video. And if you do me the honor of joining me over the next 20 minutes, I promise you I will do you the honor of uploading you a video that you will be excited to see the next chapter of. Because in all honesty, I think that way too many people upload videos filled with criticism about your favorite stars, and it breaks my heart. It's been uploaded so many times over the years that people like Kylie Control have been reduced to tears, saying, I'm never going to watch myself on YouTube ever again. I'm never going to TikTok myself again. And I think that's totally unacceptable, because the blame and the fault is on each and every one of us uploading videos. And I think that if we're going to upload videos about Descendants and Zombies, I think we should upload videos about Descendants and Zombies to take away the pain and to wipe away the tears out of the eyes of these stars that have brought these franchises to life. Because I know Kylie Control was faced with a lot of criticism, because nobody ever wanted to accept the character Red. Nobody ever wanted to hear her story until the story was told. And it became far more beautiful than anybody had ever expected, because this was really a beautiful and a very powerful story of acceptance and how one could find true love, and they eventually did through the power of friendship. I really loved how Red and Chloe were there for every single moment of each other's lives, and they supported each other with so much kindness. It was truly unbelievable, and that was put into greater emphasis because of Ruby Rose Turner's character Bridget, because she showed them how valuable friendship is and just how much kindness can touch a person's heart. Bridget became my favorite character of the Descendants franchise, and I've been left brokenhearted because Ruby announced that she was no longer going to be a part of the Descendants franchise moving forward. But I, for one, believe that this story for Ruby Rose Turner is far from over, and I'm really excited to be a part of the future moving forward as your voice of Descendants and Zombies, because I think we've been left with so many unanswered questions, and there are so many characters that could see their introduction into the story, like Aladdin and Jasmine, because I would love to see Red and Chloe take a journey inside the Cave of Wonders to discover the hidden treasure, or to be on a pirate ship or Pirates of the Caribbean themed scenes. There are so many stories that, and angles that could be presented for the Descendants franchise, so one who has been led to believe that this story is seeing its dramatic conclusion. I really love how the critics are throwing in dramatic conclusion, because it doesn't have to be that way or proceed that way. I think that if you want to hold on to a dream with Descendants and Zombies ever becoming a reality, I think you should for the foreseeable future, because this story is far from over, and I think in light of all the criticism, each and every single time somebody believes in this story that much more, it shuts out every critic and what they believe about Descendants and Zombies, because I am far from a critic. I know what it's like to be a fan, and if I could be a fan of Descendants and Zombies, one thing in this lifetime moving forward, it would have to be Descendants and Zombies. If you would do me the honor of allowing me to be your voice of Descendants and Zombies for just a little while longer, I promise you I will forever and always upload videos about Descendants and Zombies and showcase your favorite stars the way they have forever and always been deserving of being showcased. Because one could choose to criticize Kylie Control, and the obvious reason why they choose to criticize Kylie Control is because they don't know anything about Kylie Control. They don't respect Kylie Control. But you're watching this video because you respect Kylie Control, and I'm here to tell you guys, so do I. Because from the very first moment I saw Kylie Control on her Hello Kylie YouTube channel, my heart was touched, because she was reviewing shows that I loved. I grew up watching iCarly, I grew up watching Victorious, I grew up watching Hannah Montana. So when I heard Kylie Control dropping reviews in her archives on her YouTube channel, I was supportive of that. I was always a huge fan of Hello Kitty. There's actually a Hello Kitty store in the mall where I live, and I go there all the time to check out the Hello Kitty merchandise. Of course, that's where Kylie Control drew inspiration for the title of her YouTube channel. And off the success of her YouTube channel, she became a Disney star. She was first presented an opportunity by Nickelodeon. She turned them down because she wanted to wait for a call and an opportunity from Disney, a chance. And when she got it, her resume speaks for itself. Gabby during the Unsettables, Raven's Home, Bizarre Vark, and eventually Descendants. And ever since donning that character, I know she's received her fair share of criticism and she's been left brokenhearted. But I want Kylie Control to know that regardless of how people feel about her, there are millions of people that feel otherwise and have accepted Kylie Control into their lives, because as the times have changed with the Descendants cast, so have we. And I think we've done a great job doing it, because you guys have had an undeniable amount of love and support showcased for your favorite stars. That's what I felt at every venue this year when I reviewed the Worlds Collide Tour, which was the greatest honor of my life, reviewing the Worlds Collide Tour. I'm actually wearing a sweater that's the color of red this evening, because I'm showing respect to Kylie Control on the Worlds Collide Tour and how much heart and dedication she perform every night on the Worlds Collide Tour stage. Because I really believe that I think she has a very bright future, and her star has never shined brighter than ever before. And I've just wanted to support her moving forward. And I wanted to let her know that regardless of how people feel about her, I think millions of people feel otherwise. And the 50% of the people that don't really feel acceptant of Kylie Control and her message for Descendants, the other at least 75% have been incredibly supportive of her. And we become some of Kylie Control's best friends. So every single time Kylie misses her friends because of how the critics feel about her and she's reduced to tears, I think she needs to think about the fans and how much they've supported her and how they've never quit on her, because your guys never say die, never quit on you attitude, never leave your side is something that I seemingly can't do without. No matter where I am in this lifetime, no matter what's going on in my own life, I always dedicate a certain portion of my day to uploading videos about Descendants and Zombies, and it's really something that I look forward to, because I feel as if a lot of people who upload these videos really aren't presenting a case in point. And for those of you who don't know what a case in point is, it's really presenting a case as to why you are a fan of Descendants and Zombies. And I know that I don't have the Descendants dolls or the Descendants posters as part of my backdrop for my YouTube videos, but I feel as if you watch these videos about Descendants and Zombies, which pretty much are just AI or somebody just sitting there with a Descendants or Zombies poster as part of their backdrop, it really doesn't tell me a whole lot about the host of the show and why they are a fan of Descendants and Zombies. If you were a fan of Descendants and Zombies, at least do me the justification of telling me why you were a fan of Descendants and Zombies. Did you just wake up one day and fall in love with the character Red or Mal, or did you appreciate the story? You know, what made you a fan of Descendants and Zombies? Because it's one thing to rank your favorite songs or your favorite moments from top to bottom, but it's just a ranking system. Okay, Rotten to the Core was your favorite song, but why was Rotten to the Core your favorite song? Your favorite duet was Space Between or Rewrite the Stars. Okay, so why was Space Between or Rewrite the Stars your favorite duet? Did you feel as if you were a part of something? Did it remind you of a certain situation that you had been caught up within in your own life? I think everybody is a fan of Descendants and Zombies for whatever reason they are a fan of Descendants and Zombies. And I think that the critics just haven't showcased that with a greater appreciation. They're just reviewing it for the purpose of offering criticism that nobody wants anything to do with or really hear. Because for me, being a fan of Disney throughout every generation that I've been a part of, I want to watch a video that I can find time and appreciating, because I know what it's like to be each and every one of you on the other side of that video. So if I were to choose to criticize Red or Chloe or talk about Descendants in such a negative way, it really doesn't show me justification for honoring the franchises that you guys grew up with, because I know what it's like to grow up a fan of something Disney promotes, like Goof Troop and Hercules and Gargoyles. I know that's from a very different generation, but I know what it's like to be each and every one of you. Trust me. Kind of like how Aladdin wanted Jasmine to trust him more than anything else in the world, and he eventually earned her trust. I think as an audience, we have to earn the trust of the host that he's not going to let us down. He or she's not going to let us down. And if you do me the honor of allowing me to be your voice of Descendants and Zombies, I promise you, I will forever honor your favorite stars, because I saw an undeniable passion from these stars. I saw so much dedication. I never want to quit on you kind of attitude, like how Dove Cameron just showed so much perseverance to bring this character to life, because she was really the first iconic character that jumped out at us about the Descendants franchise. We all wanted to be like her. We thought she was cool. Off the success of the show, Liv and Maddie, how she was able to bring these two characters to life, Liv and Maddie with character traits. It was amazing how she would sit down with the writers and producers just to bring these characters to life, to offer so much, and then eventually go from that to a starring role in a musical such as Descendants. Really bring this character to life. If not for Mal's contributions, I don't think Red would have ever been created. Development of that character began in 2021, and since Red's premiere, she's had a different take and a different twist on Descendants from beginning to end. But I think a lot of people came away from Descendants, apart from the critics, with the exception being made for them. I think a lot of people came away from Descendants feeling more inspired than ever before because of what Red offered to the franchise. It's never care about what anybody thinks of me kind of attitude, wanting to achieve more than what her mother ever wanted her to become, and she did that. Because that's the reason why I'm wearing this red sweater tonight, because of the color red and how much the character made me feel inspired. You know, I watched Descendants for the first time when I was 25 years old, and to be honest with each and every one of you, I'd never felt more honored to be a fan of a franchise and to talk about a franchise in such a positive way, because I felt like a lot of people weren't really uploading videos about Descendants and Zombies that really made a whole lot of sense, because as a fan of Descendants and Zombies, you want to find out what's going to happen next, or at least hear somebody's predictions about Descendants and Zombies. And this may be coming from a theater kid who was the only guy in the theater room every day after school, but I learned to appreciate stage productions. I learned to appreciate stories and fairy tales more because of my study of folk literature over the years. And believe you me, for those of you who have been led to believe this story is going to see a dramatic conclusion, even if it does see a dramatic conclusion, there are so many characters that could see their introduction into this franchise, have a greater appreciation, such as Aladdin and Jasmine, because I was a really big fan of Aladdin and Jasmine. I was a really big fan of Hercules. And believe you me, if I was the writer and producer of Descendants and Zombies, you guys would see so much happen. It's one thing to say, take this movie and turn it into a TV series. But why would you turn it into a TV series when you can just have chapter after chapter after chapter with movies and eventually ending up on IMAX and the big screen? Because if you can do it for Hannah Montana and High School Musical years ago, so too can you for Descendants and Zombies. It's just about how much you believe in this franchise and really giving it life and bringing it to life. And you guys give it life every single time because you outshine the critics, and that's what I love about you so much. You don't care what a critic has to say, and you subscribe to this YouTube channel because you think this YouTube channel is cool. Because I've never ever wanted you to subscribe to this YouTube channel because of me. All I've ever wanted you to do was subscribe to this YouTube channel because you were a fan of Descendants and Zombies, because you think it's cool, because you're a fan of Red or Bridget or Chloe. I think it's really cool, and I think that if we want to believe in Descendants and Zombies for just so much longer, I think we should. I think we should hold on to that for forever and always, because I think this story doesn't have to be over. This story is far from over, and for those of you who believe this story is far from over, then I support that, and I support whatever reasons you are a fan of Descendants and Zombies. If you listen to your favorite song on constant repeat and you annoy everybody, then keep on listening to that song, because this story is not over. And I think we still have so many unanswered questions, like, was Happily Ever After all Chloe and Red ever imagined it would be? And just what are the consequences of time travel? Okay, so Red's got a sister now named Pink. So what is Pink's significance in this story? We know her as Leomani from High School Musical, the series, but have we ever seen her don the role of the Descendants character ever before? And what kind of storylines will this present? To me, it seems to be really intriguing and probably one of the best storylines that Descendants has ever seen. And I have never felt more honored to be a part of it, to be sitting in this chair in front of this microphone reviewing it over the next 365 days, because it doesn't stop there, and it doesn't have to stop there, because of how a critic feels about how they have to stop making Descendants and Zombies movies. If anything, they need to keep on moving forward, and I'm excited just to be here with each and every one of you to hear your stories and your predictions. Many of you have suggested title changes for movies like Zombies because Zed and Addison are no longer the leads, but I think I would keep the titles intact, and I would just keep on believing in the story more than perhaps ever before, because, like I said, why believe this story is over when it doesn't have to be? When Kylie Cantrell and Malia Baker's friendship is stronger than it's ever been, and Kylie and Malia are stronger than they've ever been. I think that this is an incredible opportunity for us to really seize the moment with Descendants and Zombies and be more supportive than perhaps we have ever been. Guys, seriously, thank you so much for having me this year, an incredible year, showing me the honor of being your voice of Descendants and Zombies and allowing me to be a part of each and every one of your lives. It has been a time in my life that I will never ever forget, regardless of where I go and what becomes of me from here on out. I would just love to be sitting in front of this microphone for the rest of my life, and if you guys will do me the honor of allowing me to be your voice of Descendants and Zombies for just a little while longer, I promise you guys I will never ever go away, and I will never ever let you down, because I think a lot of people have done that with these videos that have been being uploaded in the way of criticism and reviews of Descendants and Zombies. Just merely uploading a reaction video doesn't really tell me a whole lot about how they feel about Descendants and Zombies, and really doesn't explain to you why they are a fan of Descendants and Zombies. I kind of just showed up from out of nowhere from the very beginning, and I've been here ever since. I've never left Oridon. I've been attending Oridon Prep and the Merlin Academy for forever, and to be honest with each and every one of you, I've never ever wanted to leave, and I feel like I've been a part of something for what must feel like forever for a lot of people. So guys, thank you so much for having taken a chance on me. Thank you for allowing me to have been your voice of Descendants and Zombies, and I look forward to being your voice of Descendants and Zombies moving forward into the foreseeable future, because why should this story be over when it doesn't have to be? I will forever present the argument for you guys who have been huge fans of Descendants and Zombies that this story does not have to be over, and so many more chapters, so many more unpredictable moments have yet to be seen by Descendants and Zombies fans. So if you're thinking about subscribing to this YouTube channel, you're probably going to want to think about doing that, because I have a lot to say in the way of conversation and discussion about Descendants and Zombies, and I look forward to being a part of that with each and every one of you. Thank you guys so much for allowing me to have been your voice of Descendants and Zombies, because we still have a long way to go with this story, because this story, one should believe, is far from over. If you have not hit my subscribe or my like buttons or shared this video, you're probably going to want to do that, and you're probably going to want to ring my bell to stay up to date with all the notifications on this YouTube channel. Thank you from one heart to another for allowing me to have been your voice of Descendants and Zombies, and to have been a part of each and every one of your lives. We will talk again between 8:35 and 9:05 a.m. again tomorrow morning. If you have not subscribed, you're probably going to want to think about doing that, because you're not going to want to miss a single second of the action happening on this YouTube channel. You have been watching the latest episode of Jonathan Clarke Video Blogs. It has been my honor to have been your voice of Descendants and Zombies over this last year. Thank you guys so much for allowing me to have been your voice of Descendants and Zombies for what has been an incredible year and an incredible journey, one that I know I will never ever forget, because life is that much sweeter when all of us are. Thank you guys so very much.